This is Front Up on Geno TV Channel 99. I'm Dan Drake, and our guest today is Chris Maury, the athletic director at Nantucket High School. Chris, welcome.
Thank you, and thank you for having me.
What I want to hear from you about is the state of the athletic department at the high school and the state of sports generally within the framework of the high school.
The state of athletics at the high school is busy but very good. We're fortunate to have a very active athletic program. We offer 15 different varsity sports at the high school level, 12 different junior varsity level sports, and then we offer another 7.
Those divided, excuse me for interrupting, between girls and boys, or is it 15 for each?
No, it's divided between boys and girls, and obviously with Title IX everything has to be equal from a standpoint of gender. We also offer 7 sports at the middle school level as well.
Are you satisfied with the way things are going with the various teams?
I'm very happy with the way things are going with our teams. We've been very successful, and for a small school, a lot of times our kids are competing against larger schools, and proud to say that we do quite well. Our fall sports teams, we had both of our soccer teams, our field hockey team, and our golf team all qualified for tournament play. Last season, our football team were Division V Super Bowl champs. This year, not as successful, but still a very good team and some very exciting games for our football team. Our football team, unfortunately, lost 4 games by a combined total of 13 points, which for them was disappointing, but from a standpoint of watching them, obviously when we look at our student athletes, what we really try to grade them on is their attitude, their energy, and their effort. And although not successful in the win-loss column, our football team certainly graded high in those respects.
So there's more to evaluating the success of an athletic program than just the number of wins?
Oh, absolutely. And high school principal John Bucky and I have made a point to put an alleged emphasis on academics. We always refer to the participants in our athletic programs as student athletes, with the student coming first. Every award ceremony that we have for our athletic programs, the very first portion of it is dedicated to recognizing student athletes who have achieved in the classroom as well as on the athletic fields. We present certificates for any student athletes that achieved honor roll status during their season, and we present plaques to any student athletes who achieved principals list or high honor status, and then we give an award for the team each season that has the highest overall GPA.
That's great. What are the challenges particularly of running an athletic program, other than the weather, running an athletic program in an isolated environment like Nantucket Island?
Well, it's very different, and when I talk to athletic directors from other schools, they're very, they understand that it's very different. Obviously, weather and travel are 2 of the biggest issues, and there are a lot of kind of hidden things that people don't see. Everybody knows that we travel our teams back and forth, but what people don't know is obviously that a lot of our officials travel back and forth as well. That's a travel factor as well as a budget factor. The majority of our officials travel to the island by air. I'm fortunate to have a wife who's very supportive of everything that I do, and she is the taxi service for officials. She goes to the airport, picks them up, gets them to the school, and then we'll take them back to the airport after they've arrived here. We're a little different from a lot of schools from a standpoint. We're not affiliated with just one league. We're affiliated with 5 different leagues to try and get our sports teams covered. The majority of our sports teams are covered in the Cape and Islands League. That's where the majority of our teams play. Our football and hockey teams play out of the Mayflower League. Our swimming team is out of the Bay Colony League. Our lacrosse teams are out of the Maritime League. So it's affiliation with a lot of different athletic directors, schools, and league affiliations.
Sorry for interrupting, but I assume that one of the issues in finding opponents is their willingness to pay to get here.
That's correct. Obviously, travel to the island involves significant not only time but also financial hardships for other schools. We try to do everything we can to be the very best host that we can when teams do travel to the island. We feed every team that comes in. We're fortunate that we have a very good, very active booster club that provides us with additional funding so that we can provide either, if the booster club is running a concession stand and cooking, they'll feed them out of that. If not, we do pizzas and drinks for the kids so that they don't leave the island hungry. A lot of the travels, in particular here in the winter, the teams coming over, they take the 310 boat. They get here at 4:10. By the time they leave, they're leaving on that 8:10 boat. So to send them out of here with empty stomachs would not be the right thing to do.
It's also a very long.
It is.
Day
It's a long day, and it's always a long day for our kids as well. Some of the things that we've tried to do to help with that is we've tried to schedule more and more just with Cape and Island schools as much as possible to cut down on the travel times for our kids, and we've been fairly successful in doing that. Some of our league affiliations, in particular, I mentioned the Mayflower League, that involves travels over the bridge to a number of different locations just because of the schools that are affiliated with that league. Same thing with our lacrosse programs. The Maritime League has a lot of schools that are in the New Bedford, Fall River area.
What about coaches? Is getting coaches who are really skilled in both the sport that they're coaching and their coaching ability, is that a challenge, or is it? Obviously, you've got some pretty good people now.
It's always a challenge, and we look at it, or try to look at it from two different standpoints. We try to find the best people that we can, and when we get those people on board, we try to help them to get educated to become better. The state of Massachusetts has pushed to have coaches become certified from a standpoint of working with kids and also from a standpoint of first aid and CPR. And those are things that we've been working hard to achieve and to work towards. It is a challenge living on an island. The pool of resources when it comes to a lot of things is short. And when it comes to coaches at the high school level, that's no exception. We've had a number of recent coaching changes. This winter, for example, our boys basketball coach, Bo Almodovar, who's well known on the island, had coached the boys basketball team for the past 14 years, decided that he was going to retire, and our girls coach, Willis Ferrer, stepped in, took that position over, and Travis Lombardi, who's been one of our football coaches, our head JV football coach, and my administrative assistant in my office, has taken on the girls program. And in that situation, we were able to take people that were in-house, hire them, and we feel like we've got good people in both positions.
Good. What about the financial end of it? Obviously, that's always a squeeze in the budgeting process. Aren't there now some kids who are paying, or their payments are being made to enable them to participate?
When I first came on board as athletic director, the school, the town, everybody was faced with obviously budget crunches, and we were looking for ways to cut. And we went the route of, instead of having to cut sports or cut levels of sports, to go to the outside, and we went to a pay-to-participate program where we charge a user fee for athletics. One of the things that I promoted when we went to the system, that we weren't going to make it so it was not possible for kids to play. If kids could not afford the user fee, if families could not afford the user fee, what we did was we offered scholarships so that they could be covered. Our user fee system is set up so that it's $150 to participate in one sport, $125 if a student athlete participates in a second sport, and then $100 for a third sport, with a family cap of $600. So if a family has multiple student athletes, they'll never pay more than $600 in a given year. And we're also fortunate from a standpoint, as everybody knows, we have a very generous community. We're able to go out and find scholarship money to cover those athletes. That
I know there was a fund set up, at least for the golf team. I don't know if there are other funds of that nature or not.
There are not other funds of that nature. That particular one was set up by Ron and Betty De Silva, and they set up a fund so that we could cover our golfers that needed help with that user fee, and obviously that was a big help to that program. But Friends of Nantucket Public Schools, and then we have other individuals throughout the community who have been willing to offer scholarship money so that we could cover our athletes. The user fee program, our overall athletic budget runs, it's $676,000 for the year to cover both the high school and the middle school programs. Through our user fee program, we've been bringing in rough numbers, about $80,000 to $85,000 a year. So obviously that's a considerable amount, and it certainly helps with the expense from a standpoint of the school's budget.
Sure.